what is the one thing that you would say in terms of regulating that nervous system can help people when it is around what other people might think?
So, one to note, appeasing others is a part of the freeze um, survival mechanism. People will appease other people when fight or flight is not an option. So if you think about a child will appease the parent if fighting or running away is not an option. So they will adapt to making sure that the other person is okay for fear of life. Literally, like a child's nervous system, it's a fear of life. Child cannot look after itself. Do you know, like for the first 3 years of life, a child is fully dependent on its primary caregiver. If that level of care is not consistent, the child will experience um, threat to life, as if as if like the actual term is annihilation. Like the reason a baby screams like it does when it wants feeding is because they are experiencing the emotion of annihilation. Because if it didn't, you wouldn't feed it, would you? If a baby
No.
just went heh like that, you wouldn't feed it. So it screams as if if it's gonna if it's as if it's gonna be annihilated. So therefore, when we experience that, and if the level of care is not consistent, we then go into appeasing through default because because the threat is not it's not a realistic for us to fight or flight because we're not big enough. We can't fight adults. We can't run away from adults. So like that's where that comes from. As opposed, and so therefore, then so like that's the realization of where it comes from. So then, like I would say, probably the highest amount of percentage of people that I work with come from that place. A fear of upsetting somebody else, letting other people down. It's like if the situation goes tits up, it's my fault. So then they start to take responsibility for other people's actions or other people's emotions. So the first part of that is the awareness. Like any of this, it starts with self-awareness. Okay, so then what I would encourage people to do is practice. Practice in situations that are not high risk. So just saying no to people, just putting in a healthy boundary and just saying no. I'd love to do that, but if I say yes to that or no to that, then I can't do this. So but in situations where there is no high risk, where it's might be a work thing or like do you want to go out for lunch or whatever it might be, so like that's where I would practice, and I would also start to acknowledge how you feel when you say that, so that you don't go into fixing or rescuing. Once you've said no, you stay behind your boundary and you just sit with the discomfort of saying no. So that's where I would start to practice that. And then if it becomes too much, then start to self-regulate. So again, the homework would be set your timer on your phone 3 or 4 times a day and just sit for a minute and either ground yourself, do some breath work. The breath work wants to be where the out breath is longer than the in breath, because then that activates the parasympathetic part of your nervous system, which slows your heart rate down.